Hello everybody, welcome back to a brand new video. My name is Nalo, and today we're going to be talking about some misconceptions that I've seen around in the investing community. These misconceptions are pretty common, and I've seen a lot of videos that are actually based on them. Hopefully this video is able to clear some of those up. We're going to be talking about all types of things, from stickers to the overall market, so strap in and we'll get into that after a word from our sponsor, GamerPay. This video is sponsored by GamerPay, the best place to buy and sell CSGO items. So the first and most important thing that you need to know about GamerPay right now is that they actually have 0% fees using the GamerPay wallet, which means you can trade your items out on GamerPay completely for free. Another super cool feature of GamerPay that I absolutely love is the ability to get a 3D shop, which allows buyers to check out all of the items that you're selling on GamerPay in an environment which lets you kind of view what the item would look like in game. GamerPay also has a lot of settings to improve your experience. For example, you can compare items on GamerPay to their buff prices, which I really like. When you're checking out an item, you can see a full breakdown of all of the qualities of the item and the seller, and you can even get some chances to win some items just by completing some tasks on the website. It's really easy to buy and withdraw items from GamerPay. Just find the item you want, do the trade offer, then boom, the item is in your inventory, ready for you to go use and flex on your silver teammates. But besides all those really cool features, you should definitely be using GamerPay right now just because of their fee structure alone. 0% fees for buyers and sellers using the GamerPay wallet is a great deal and puts GamerPay ahead of so many other markets. Speaking of sellers, there's a myriad of great features for you as well. For example, you can make the items that you have listed follow the buff price of the items so you don't have to monitor them as much. You can also view the analytics of certain items to see how they're performing. So with all these great features and more, it's really a no-brainer. You can visit GamerPay using my link in the description below. Alright, so the first misconception that we're going to look at here is that supply and demand are a linear relationship. So even in early economics classes, what you learn is that supply and demand models are for perfect markets. But most markets aren't perfect, and that definitely includes the CS market. Instead of a linear relationship with supply and demand in the CS market, demand actually outweighs supply a lot of the time. This is due to the fact that CS items have special qualities about them, like for example their pattern indexes, their floats, the stickers that you put on them, that kind of thing. These more tangible factors mean that demand ends up being a little bit more important, and prices can stay up and also extremely high if demand is simply high enough. One example that I like to use a lot to illustrate this concept is if you look at factory new blaze oranges versus a factory new dragon lore. There are way more factory new dragon lores in existence than there are factory new blaze oranges, but a factory new dragon lore will run you over 10 grand, whereas you can get a factory new blaze orange for around 70 bucks. Now this happens all across the market, of course. One of the more recent examples is Paris. The supply for Paris is very high, and got even higher when the sticker sale started. Yet the hollows have pretty much only risen in price, because the demand for them is so insane. So in the CS market, being qualitative rather than quantitative is a lot of the time the right way to go, especially with skins. Well, now with items like cases, for example, where they have less tangible qualities, supply ends up being a little bit more important, but for skins at least, demand is king. The next misconception that I want to talk about is application rate determining winners. So one big data set that goes around every time we have a new major is the application rate of the stickers. And I've seen many of the newer YouTubers using this data set to try and determine what stickers are going to do well. Now on paper it makes a lot of sense. The higher a sticker is applied, that would logically imply that the sticker will decrease in supply at a faster rate than other stickers from the same major, and will as a result be more expensive in the future. But this sort of also ties back to that first misconception about supply and demand not being linear and demand being more important, and another factor as well. The second factor here is that investor demand is not taken into account when looking at application rates. When you're looking at application rates, you're looking at people who have actually applied the sticker to an item, which basically completely ignores all investor demand in that sticker, because investors aren't applying their stickers. That just makes them lose money. A good example that I like to use to illustrate this concept is in Antwerp 2022. The Cloud9 Hollow is far and away the most expensive team hollow from the entire year, pretty much dwarfing every other sticker in price. And yet the Navi Hollow and the FaZe Hollow, which are actually coincidentally from the same capsule as the Cloud9 Hollow, are the two with the highest application rates. The Cloud9 Hollow in comparison actually has a very middling application rate, but despite this somewhat lackluster application rate, it still holds the highest price and was the most successful. So some of you are probably wondering then why this dataset is passed around so much and why so many people consider it to be important. It is still nice to know what the most applied stickers are, because it sort of tells you how accessible the sticker is to the casual consumer. And although there aren't a ton of extrapolations you can make from that, it's still nice to know in some cases to get a general idea of the general consumer demand. And moving on to misconception number 3, we have that the market is not always going to be rational and perfect. In fact, I'd go as far to say that the market is most of the time not rational and perfect. When it comes to analyzing the overall market, I've seen a lot of people being confused that a certain item is skyrocketing in price randomly, or something of that nature, and I just want to remind everybody that the Augstorm minimal wear was once one of the fastest gainers on the entire market simply because of a TikTok meme where people were buying it up like crazy. Sometimes stupid stuff happens that doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's futile to try and expect everything to be super logical. Sometimes we'll have unexpected cases like Paris, where a sticker sale, which should increase the amount of supply vastly and should curb prices, actually ends up having basically the opposite effect, and hollows instead increase. It's not rational, it's not logical, and it doesn't really follow any historical precedents, but sometimes it just happens like that. So if you try to base everything completely perfectly on logic and then it doesn't go so well, don't get upset. That's just how the market works a lot of the time. This is further proof that you should be analyzing demand more than supply, because demand is usually what drives these prices up so much. Moving on to the next misconception, we have if an item can increase, it's a good investment. I've seen this a lot as well when people ask me certain questions about certain items, or when Fano makes a community post about the AK headshot. While it's true that basically every item in CS goes up over time, that doesn't necessarily qualify an item to be a very good investment. For example, if you were to buy something random, like the rain paper from Clone 2016, that item did technically increase over time, but there were so many better investments that could have accrued so much more value in a shorter period of time. So the goal of investing is not to look for items that will increase in price. The goal of investing is to look for optimized investments, where you can make the largest turnaround in the shortest period of time. Now, of course, every investor is different though, so optimization might mean something different for you. For example, some people may be looking to just buy a bunch of items then never touch their inventory for the next 5 years, and in that case, a more optimized investment would be something that rises over time safely. So it does come down to what you value, but keep in mind to take into account optimization when considering certain investments to buy. Just because an item seems like it will increase doesn't exactly mean that it's going to be the best possible item you can spend money on. Now, a huge misconception at the end here, the market is not always going to go up. This is simply just an irrational statement to make. There are many cases where the market just declines. The most recent example just being how we had that CS2 news, which made basically every item go completely ballistic. But if you were to buy at that peak, like many of the crypto bros did, you would have just simply lost money over time by now. Corrections happen all the time, and buying into these hype spikes is not always the best idea. Another really good example was around summer 2021 or so, where a lot of items spiked in price like crazy, but then after that there's pretty diminishing demand for CS, and in general items were just declining over a long period of time, and there were basically no good investments that you could even make in that short term. So I just want to stress that you shouldn't always expect the market to be increasing. There may be cases where you lose money on an investment. Keep in mind though that in an overall sense the market is technically up, and that is generally a trend we've seen for the entire existence of CSGO so far. So even if your items are declining in price, I would urge you to consider your options and try not to just sell at a loss. In a lot of cases, it may be smarter to just hold on to the items for the next big market increase, from an operation or another big update, for example. And that's going to complete the final misconception for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed, and hopefully this cleared up some misconceptions. This video is pretty generalized, so there are going to be some niche cases that kind of prove these misconceptions. This video is just speaking about the market in a general sense. If you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like on it. It helps me massively and costs you absolutely nothing. If you want more great CS investing content, be sure to subscribe to my channel for the best CS content anywhere else on YouTube. If you have any further questions, be sure to hit me up on Discord or Twitter. I respond to all of my DMs as long as the question is logical and I have time to answer it, and I do that completely for free, so you have nothing to lose. Just like on GamerPay, where they currently have 0% fees when using the GamerPay wallet. You literally can't lose anything to fees. They also just updated their deposit and withdrawal fees as well and made those better. Plus, if you use my link and you spend 50 euros, we'll both get an extra 5 euros as well. So there's no reason not to go check out GamerPay. Anyway guys, thanks again for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.